Okay, so let's look at one more pressure. Okay. So, one more thing, we haven't really talked about our hips, what our hips can be doing. Let's just say open up that collar and I'm in one. Second one comes in two. This time, I mean, we know that curling the wrists is number one, but I'm not going to curl my wrists this time. How can I start putting pressure on this cross choke, making it easier to finish? So from here, without curling my wrists, all I'm going to do is, if you notice my ass is on the mat, I'm just going to lift my hips off the mat. And as I do that, if you've noticed, my shoulders are off the mat. I'm going to start putting my shoulders on the mat and widening my shoulders like this. Okay, so that's all I'm doing there. And I get the top. Hard to see that from that angle. So we're not allowed to curl our wrists this time. This time all I'm really doing is, if you think about when I'm in the cross choke position, my butt is on the mat. Right? I'm going to lift my hip off the mat and engage my hips. As I do that, I'm going to put my shoulders on the mat and widen my shoulders like this. Small little detail. So I'm in one, second one comes in two. I'm not allowed to curl my wrist this time because the minute I start to curl my wrist, I don't have to do anything. He's just tapping. So to get better at this hip pressure by lifting my ass off the mat, we don't curl our wrists. So one, two, my butt is on the mat. All I'm going to do is lift my hips. You notice my shoulders are off the mat, and now I start to put my shoulders back. As I do that, look at the V. The way my backs and my hands are getting smaller. So one, two, engage the hips. My shoulders are off the mat. Now I'm going to start putting my shoulders on the mat. And I widen my shoulders without curling. And now my hips are engaged. Let's get another angle on that, bro. Turn more around this way. Just turn around a wee bit, perfect. So one, two, engage the hips. Okay. Shoulders back, and my hips stay square. And again, the only pressure I'm allowed to use is my hips and my shoulders. I'm not allowed to curl my wrists. I'm not allowed to use my arms. So it's just one, two, engage my hips, shoulders off the mat. And now as I bring my shoulders back, my hips are driving into his hips. That's just using hip pressure. Bringing my shoulders back. So if you stick them all in together, it looks like this. And it's tight. Okay, so that is our fifth pressure on how to finish the cross choke from the guard.